Okay, there we go.
I like
Hi
that. Did
everyone.
you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, and it's the last day of 2022. Hell of a
It
year,
is.
isn't it?
It's gone fast, but it's been long.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year. It's been a crazy year, personally and in the world. What was your highlight?
Um, I gotta say, I, I get up early in the morning, so my highlight was literally getting back from my morning walk and catching Kelly J's tour in America.
Yeah.
That was my highlight. It was Amy, the known heretic, and pardon.
Live.
Yeah. So I'd either catch Kelly J's or the known heretic going live in the morning. But we're literally talking about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because you go for your walking, don't you, in the early morning?
Yeah, you take the puppies for a walk, and then I try to get the sunrise if I can. So yeah, that was my highlight, was actually being able to go on that journey with those ladies through YouTube, which is I think one of the first times in history mums and those of us who work from home can still be there in energy, even though we can't be there in the physical person. Even though some days I felt like I could literally jump through that iPad like a porthole and pop up there with my banners and support the girls. But it was nice to be able to at least support them from behind a screen, if nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, there's more and more people doing it. It's definitely getting out there. But I mean, I can't wait for it to come here.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm like,
Right.
I'm actually looking at what am I going to have to wear for my turfing? What's the best thing to wear? Most appropriate thing to wear, like I like my long and flowies and they're not appropriate. So for me, it's something that I've got to consider not wearing bell sleeves and not wearing, the long and flowies.
Why, might I ask?
Well, if we're going to go on Kelly J's
Oh,
tour,
true.
well, for me, go to some rallies, um, I've had to reconsider what
Yeah,
possibly to
I,
wear.
you're
The
right.
more,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
the
was
more
thinking
interest we
of
get.
20, 30 people like we usually have, but it's going to be so big.
Yeah. Like it sounds like there's people in northern New South Wales where Brisbane's going to be their closest to actually get to.
Yeah, I just feel like not enough people know about it still, though.
How do you get the word out though? Like
Well,
it's such a hard
we have to do more
rock
of
in the
this.
Yeah, it's a rock and a hard place too, isn't it? Because um, if you get it out early, then the TRAs know where you are. They're able to organise um, their counter protests, so to speak.
Yeah,
It does make it hard, like you're basically having to tap women on the shoulder and say, "Yo, this is what's going to be happening."
mm. But I mean, they're going to turn up. But I wholeheartedly think there'll be more of us than them.
I'd like to see it. I can't see why Australia can't be the other Turf Island, personally.
Yeah,
Like I can't see why not. We're
I know.
spread out, but once we get together, surely.
Mm. Watching the one Kelly J did in Brighton as well, and I'm from Brighton. Uh, and I just really hope that we get those kind of numbers when she comes here.
That'd be good,
2023 is
eh?
the year.
Yeah.
It
I
can't
think
continue.
I
It can't continue.
yeah, look, there's definitely like there's definitely more people engaging, I think, with the topic. Um, just getting through that wall, that fog that people have of the be kind, once you can sort of get past that, these people aren't actually kind. You're now being submissive,
Yeah,
not kind.
yeah.
I think once people sort of realize that, and I think too, um, for
Will they
myself, is
realise that though? I mean, I believed this for a good 6 months, a good few years ago. I wasn't all in, but I thought, okay, trans women are women, fine. I didn't understand the consequences of saying that and putting that out into the world. I didn't get it, and I did think it was just be kind. But
it's such a
having
great
a baby
way.
has completely changed my mind on it. Having a baby girl as well has
Oh,
made
that's
I need to speak out more about this. I mean, I do
yeah.
need to get it out there more.
Like I think that to myself is having a daughter.
Yeah,
And also what legacy we leave for our granddaughters here too,
yeah,
like um, you know, they say that, don't we exist? We need to, um we're literally a endangered species at this stage, women, like as horrible as that is. And I don't understand the logic. I honestly don't understand the logic of anything that, we've got. So we're looking at racehorses, yeah? My hubby and I. No, like we're not gamblers. We were just sort of talking because my husband once had named a band after a racehorse. Really, really random. But when you're betting on a racehorse, apparently it matters whether it's a stallion, a mare, or a gelding, right?
right.
Like if you're into like fully, trying to make money, you want to look at bloodlines, you want to look at what that horse actually
Okay.
is. So how come a horse, for example, that you're going to bet on, you get to know what
Yeah,
it is on its basically birth certificate, you get to know its bloodline, you
yeah,
get to know its whether it's a stallion still intact, whether it's a mare or whether it's a gelding. And we're not calling them trans, oh, those little trans horses, go trans. We're not doing that. It actually matters when you go down to, like in November, we just had the Melbourne Cup. It matters to people who give a shit about punting in the Melbourne Cup. So
it's to
why doesn't
everything. Like when you go and get a puppy dog, or if you go and get a cat, you decide you want to know if it's a boy or a girl, don't you?
absolutely, totally.
But some people have just completely lost sight of the fact that we are mammals. We are animals. We're
I sort of
male or
there was
female. That a male can't become a female, and vice versa. I don't understand how this has become so ingrained that actually people think that you can change sex.
it just goes to show though, doesn't it? When you leave a system uninterrupted, unchallenged, what will happen so quickly, like once it's into the schools. And for me, a big red flag was my son's 23. And when he was in grade 9, so he was 14, he came home and he was talking about anal sex. And I was like, whoa, you talk about sex with your kids, but that was something I hadn't really discussed with him at that age because it was something that I personally hadn't even sort of really thought about until I was in my early 20s. So, you sort of go, okay, I'll teach my kids sex education, but you literally cannot keep up with the system itself. You know what I mean? The system is ahead of you because you're not getting those letters home anymore. But there is no letters home, and that was 9 years ago. And
Bloody hell.
I was just like, yeah, I was just blown away, like all through it. I sort of like, there's no way I'll be homeschooling my teenage children now, or at least
Yeah.
very much be a helicopter mum and speak very openly about this from the get go. I
Yeah.
think you really have to.
but I know how. I mean, if it's still like this when my baby goes to school, she's not going. I know how susceptible, especially young girls, are to this kind of shit. Why do you think there's multiple, usually girls, identifying as trans in every class now?
Yeah.
These things catch on, and I just don't. I think about the mums out there as well who have got daughters and sons, but I think the daughters really hit home to me because they're having body parts cut off. And, if you're a mother and you can see, your child isn't trans, your child better than anybody. And the schools have done that. They've let it seep in. And it's like tentacles, this whole ideology. It just gets into every facet of society. And the schools is a big no-no for me. I will not be sending my girl to school.
No, my daughter's last 6 months was
I
horrendous.
had no idea that this was going to happen. I always used to think that, like, homeschool kids were a bit weird. But
Yeah,
I completely get it now. This is the thing. So much comes to you, so you get you get so much knowledge and so much education just from getting older. And when you're 16, you don't know anything.
yeah, we got a clue. Yeah, I used to be an art facilitator at a local little art gallery with the little workshops and that type of thing. And I was always amazed because they would get the pottery lady in and she would have her homeschool students,
Yeah,
and like even the ones that were a little wild, there was a couple of little wild childs in there, the homeschool kids. They were always really polite. It was a different sort of level of kids, and I liked the idea too of the parents would get together. Like they weren't friends. They literally weren't friends. They had obviously got together in some online group, a lot of locals at homeschool, and they'd organise this class to come to. And I thought, look at this. There's not like we've been conditioned that they're not socializing their kids, and that can be as totally far from the truth. It's
yeah,
actually, they've it's organized. There's a time and a place for it, and I kind of liked that idea too. That come on, guys, we've got to be at this place at this time, which is not that a kid can't get that in the school environment when your every class is just in that little spot. Yes, you can
yeah,
run late for class, but it's not the same as here's a set facilitator at a set place and you do that once a month or you do it twice a week or whatever it is. But I actually thought these kids were I learned a lot from it, just observing the old homeschool mums and dads.
yeah. It's definitely shocked me, you know. But I just hope it can come around again to some sense of normality, reality. This isn't even reality what they're teaching kids.
No,
It's teaching a child that you can be born in the wrong body is absolutely disgraceful. I just
no, did
I just can't believe that people are going along with this. I can't believe it. I feel like I'm in a bad
did you
dream.
we are in a bad dream. And did you see that I got through to Kelly J
Mm,
on my and we'll because I had that friend of mine who's just it exploded. It
yeah.
was I laugh about it, but it was so intensely insane. Like, and I
Mm,
thought it's not like this is my religion and this is her religion and we disagree on our gods. It's more intense than that
yeah.
because we are now not able to communicate because my definition of reality is now different to the definition of her reality. So
Exactly.
when I say woman, this is what I mean. When she says woman, she actually means the same thing unless I say something that she doesn't agree with. And then she flips and goes, that's hate speech, that's whatever. So I don't understand how they can maintain it.
I know. I don't understand how they can, but I think that's why they don't want to talk about it because they can't keep up with it. I mean, no one can. No one can keep up with this. First, you were born in the wrong body. Now you don't have to be born in the wrong body. Then you had to have gender dysphoria. Now you don't. It's just it. I can't keep up with it. And like your
Well,
friend, she doesn't want to talk about it because she knows that it's all bullshit.
yeah, and like
Everyone knows it's
the
bullshit.
goalpost sort of changes too. Like it went from you're not allowed to talk GC sort of turfy sort of
Right.
stuff. Oh well, you can describe your experience, but I don't want to hear about the ins and outs. Well,
Mm.
wait a minute. Now I don't even want to hear about a comment that you had on your YouTube channel. It's like, yeah, you know what? I just think you're being a bit of an asshole, do you, mate?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, are you actually using this subject? Like, it just crossed my mind. Are you using this subject just to be an absolute twat? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry that happened because it's horrible and it's horrible, but it's also, you're better off
I
knowing
think
rather than
I think it's
holding your
necessary.
tongue. You shouldn't have to hold
Yeah,
your tongue in front of your own friends.
I think it's necessary too because I hate this political correctness fucking bullshit talk, but moving forward where we're at now,
Yeah,
I really think it's important to actually get through this shit
yeah,
with people we can speak truth with, where we're not second guessing what they mean by what they describe in their reality. And it's an unfortunate thing, and hopefully it won't be for long. But it,
I just can't see these people ever coming back. Like some of the people that have been saying that I'm wrong and I'm on the wrong side of history and stuff. They're so. I mean, they believe it. They believe their side as much as I believe my side.
oh yeah, yeah. Some of them are as crazy as the people, the anti-abortionists. They think we're like the right-wing anti-abortionists.
Yeah,
Like that's how they really think we want these kids to die. Some of them, it's literally
I know.
crazy. It's intense. Actually, it's really
Saw a
intense.
video. I saw a video. If I can work out how to do it, I'll put it in here. Of Amy Sargent, a prolific man pretending to be a woman, talking about how governments are literally explicitly saying that they want to eradicate trans people. And this is just not true. We're bending laws. We're opening our fucking single sex spaces for you. How can you have it both ways? Like,
We're
they
changing
actually
in
believe that people
dictionary
want children.
definitions.
I know, they're getting everything changed for them. And people are bending over backwards. People are saying things that aren't true to please them. They don't want to hurt their feelings that much that they're willing to say that a man is a woman. Yet there's also a genocide against them. Which one is it then? It's just mental.
I what genocide? I don't understand the genocide. Like if
Apparently, trans people are being killed every day.
is that because of the suicide? And if that's because of the suicide, then
They never say
where
what it's from.
that's exactly right.
Hmm.
And that violence, that the absolute violence, by the looks of some videos, comes from being um not mispronounced or whatever you call it,
Hmm.
misgendered. Someone misgendered me, but uh, if I don't know you, then I'm just going to describe my reality. I can't do anything
I'm going
more
to
than
describe
that.
my reality even if I do know you. I will never call a man a woman, and I won't bend on that. And I think
No.
there's a lot of women like us out there who feel the same. So they can change
Yeah,
laws and they can do what they want, but they're never going to change our instincts as women
the
when we
but
feel.
I thought about that. The best I can do is their name, their
Yeah,
name self. That is the best of
yeah,
compromise that I can do. Um, I've had a discussion whether or not I would use a female name. Um, I think I use nicknames for people.
yeah,
So, again, and in my house too, which is really weird, is we all have unisex names. Like Kelly can be for male or female. Um,
Yeah,
so I kind of that's a little bit. I don't know. I can't fully get my head around where I
yeah.
stand
I know.
there.
I just feel a bit weird calling a huge, great man with size 14 feet Michelle.
I know, right? So maybe the compromise might be I'll call you Mish.
Mitch.
Like,
Yeah,
or Mish,
yeah,
I don't know what the compromise will be so that I don't have to be a horrible, nasty person, because I'm not a horrible, nasty person, but truth and reality has to come first. It has to.
it has to.
It has, and that's where, I struggle. That's where, because I don't want someone to be
Walk around.
sad.
We don't want to walk around being rude dickheads.
Yeah, and I
But
don't want to be walking on
also, we're
eggshells.
in a horrible situation where that we're having to. I don't even want to use the word accept because I don't accept them in my spaces, but the laws are being changed to say that they are legally allowed to be in there.
Yeah. Like I'm a bitch. I'm a right asshole. And I self-edit a lot. And I don't want to have to self-edit and rein myself in more than what is necessary and what is needed in this realm. It's hard enough as it
Exactly.
is to
Yeah,
yeah, not to look at and observe stuff and go, fuck you idiot, like
yeah.
and it does worry me. I do not want to end up in a full fist fight with a full grown man in a bathroom, because I've spoken truth, and I've boldly spoken truth, and I've opened my mouth and it's come
But
out before I've
listen,
had a
Kellyann,
chance.
they are no more likely to commit offences than non-trans women, and that's what me and you are, non-trans women now.
I
So
know, do you love that?
three is completely unfounded. Don't worry your pretty little face about it.
Oh, that's right. I've been told by many of these young TRAs they're not interested in you anyway, old lady.
They're such kids, aren't they? I was like that when
And
I was 18. We were all like, well, not all of us, maybe some of us were worse than others, but come on, I can look at them and kind of see how I was in the way that they rebel and the way that they hate older people. It's a normal thing, but they're going to get old one day, and then it ain't going to be so hot when you're mincing around in fucking high heels and lipstick. It's
that's
not.
right.
When you see like blokes in their 50s doing it, I don't want to see that in my spaces. I'm not the one in the wrong for not wanting that in my fucking female spaces.
No, you're
No,
not. And you know what? I should be able to take my old lady jiggly bits into the female spaces,
just worry.
and, and, and not have to worry about it, because it is a women's sanctuary in that because people are uncomfortable. We are,
Yeah,
but women
yeah,
do understand our bodies, and we teach our young girls especially what they can expect in the future by getting ready in a space that's communal like that, in a changing room, on a bathroom, or by the pool or by the sea. These communal areas show those young girls what they are to expect. In Yes, women come in all shapes and sizes, but you have to be an adult human female for that to register.
yeah,
There's no point. There's no point of teenage boy on estrogen being in there, because their body is still not going to be anything like the mums or the crones. The mothers or the crones. He's not a maiden to begin with. He's not a maiden. He didn't start off as a mother maiden crone. He didn't start off as a maiden. So therefore, even on estrogen, he's not going to be, his end result is not going to be the mother or the crone, is it?
It's not. And a really important point as well on it is, I think it was Sal Graver I heard say this the other day, that a lot of this is going on over the internet, over Twitter and social media and stuff. And you're only reading their words. But when you actually hear their voices, they are men's voices. And if you're in a changing room with, or in the shower, like in a gym in the shower, and you hear someone in the shower next to you and you hear that it's a dude, you know that that's a dude.
My God, yes.
And
And the other ones that practice the voice,
say that again.
the other ones that practice their voice, they practice their lady voice. I'm not having a conversation with somebody who's more worried about the pitch of their voice than they are the conversation that we're having.
Yeah. And when I think about it, actually, it is really sad because they worry so much about that, which is, I think, what makes them so aggressive. They can't just, like we can, leave the house, go to the shop. They have to put in an inordinate amount of effort. Not all of them, because now you don't have to put in any effort, but a lot of them do put in, the nails, the makeup, the fake tits, the heels, and God, you
It's
know,
hyper fixated, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
It's absolutely hyper fixated. It also comes down to, I think, like not having passion or a hobby in your life. You know what I mean? Their passion and their hobby is their outward
themselves.
appearance. Yeah, like, um, is it because say it's a harder world for these young people in order to, will they own a property?
Yeah, yeah,
So if they don't own a property, will they invest, instead of investing in something like that, they're investing in self?
yeah. Wow, I hadn't thought about it like that, but you're so right. Um, I can't remember who said it now. God, keep saying that, but I heard that the more you think about yourself is a direct correlation with how depressed you are, and you know, it makes sense.
I think that does make a hell of a lot of sense, actually. Totally. Um,
Especially when your validation of you as a person has to be drawn from everybody around you. You know, if a dude pretending to be a woman just went out and everyone just thought called him he, uh, there would be no problem. But it's the people that are playing along, calling him she, that feeds into that, and it's harming the rest
yeah,
of us.
yeah. So basically, you have the narcissist, which is the trans person, and anybody who is an enabler. That's really what we've got here is a narcissistic system of a
Yeah,
narcissist and enablers, and this has been allowed
yeah,
within law,
yeah.
and
Which is just
it does
mental.
yeah,
Mental.
it does manifest on different levels, like different types of narcissists, but they all seem to definitely have that level,
Mm,
you
yeah,
know. And it's very surprising, like when you start talking to people, especially even people that you've known in your past for a while, and little questions get answered, right? Like, I've got a mate, and she's a very, very close mate. I adore this lady, and I do have permission to actually talk about her story, so we're good. Um, she has her partner live in a little granny flat in the back. Her husband, her ex-husband, lives in a granny flat, and you sort of go, okay, well, it makes sense property wise nowadays, because if you sell that house, you may not be able to buy another property. So, can you invest and buy a granny flat one gets the house, one gets the granny flat. So her ex lives in the granny flat down the back. Lovely chap, really, really lovely chap. And we've been talking a lot more about my channel and what I do, and she actually opened up about why her ex lives down in the granny flat, and her ex is an ornithographer.
Right.
And he said to her that he wanted to come out. Everybody's coming out, and she said, "We will be selling the property, and you will be moving on if
Oh,
you come out to the kids." Yeah, and they're adult kids, you know. She spent 3 months in a psychiatric hospital 5 years ago now, and that was connected. See, I didn't know at the time that that was connected to all this. I just know that she's a witchy type of person, and she was layering the really masculine symbolic things on her. Like she was wearing like this like mock bear claw, this fake bear claw, and other like really masculine totems, and yeah, on her little talismans,
oh,
and she met a really big bloke, a big manly man, and literally has is that's her best friend now. But um I never would have thought, and it made that connection, that she was questioning her womanhood and who she was at the essence because of her ex-husband's behavior, and that he's still on the property, and he does what he does down there, which is fine. But when he came out 5 years ago and said, "Hey, how about we let the kids know what I do," that had actually triggered her to have this whole breakdown and end up with 3 months in the psychiatric hospital, the poor darling, and from no fault of her own. And so she's constantly got this reminder there of his mental illness, but because of the kids not knowing the situation, he's a narcissistic person, and those kids not
yeah,
really understanding the situation enabled him and pushed her over the edge,
yeah. Well,
questioning
it's all about
her
them.
sanity.
It's all about them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, she's absolutely divine. And because you know how I would love to go on this tour, I would love to do more than Brisbane on this tour. So my friend is so lovely. She's said that she might don't make a small donation to my fuel costs to get to another state if I want to go.
Brilliant. Wow,
She said it.
that's great.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be good. She wants to reckon go interview as many women as possible.
Yeah,
So yeah. So I was like, but this has only just all come out in the last couple of weeks because of my channel and her feeling confident enough, even though I've known her forever, to be actually tell me what goes on behind her four walls,
wow.
Because you can know
Wow.
someone like I've
You
literally
never know.
known
You
her.
never know someone's story, do you?
You
This
don't.
affects a lot of people. This is affecting a lot of people.
You don't. Like this is a lady that
We're about to.
um, you know, my daughter more or less calls an aunt.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, crazy.
Crazy. How
Well,
are we for
okay,
time there?
on that note, it's going to cut out soon. So, should we say bye?
We should say bye. This was a good test run.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, have you got your channel name?
Um, it'll be on Minority of One. Yeah. So, if anyone's got a copy of 1984 by George Orwell, by the way, dust it off and read it because it's absolutely insane how what is happening now is predicted.
It
Yeah.
is, isn't it?
Yeah. So, all right. So I better press stop now then.
Yep. Okay, Leah, well, have a good New Year's Eve and I'll see you in the new year,
Happy
love.
New Year, sweetheart. Bye. Keep surfing.
See ya.
Keep surfing on.